Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Gilda Evans, bringing you the Autism Resource Podcast. This podcast and the ARP website are your one-stop knowledge and resource space for autism and much more. I'm so happy to have Thomas Iland returning as my guest today. Tom was diagnosed with autism at 13 years old. Since accepting his diagnosis, he has been recognized as an award-winning author and thought leader. He left his career as a certified public accountant in 2015 to become a keynote speaker, certified human potential coach, and diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. He is now the owner of Come to Life Coaching, which is based on the title of his best-selling book, Come to Life, Your Guide to Self-Discovery. His mission is to empower individuals on and off the autism spectrum to live the life of their choice. Tom has spoken at the United Nations, given a TEDx talk, and is the only Toastmasters International accredited speaker with autism in the world. He currently lives in Santa Clarita, California, with his dog, Bridget. Welcome, Tom, and thank you so much for joining me today to discuss safety in the community.
It's my pleasure, Gilda. Thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
So let's start off with this question. What are some of the most important things to note about being safe for those with autism when they are out in their communities and interacting with others?
Well, we've all heard the saying, safety first, and we do our best to make sure it is happening in our community. With people on the autism spectrum and other learning differences, in some cases, we're actually leaving safety to chance because there's a lot of moving parts here and different people involved in interactions with first responders. And the community is quick to say, the police need training on autism, train the police. And that is a valuable part of the safety equation, as my mother and I like to call it. But she and I have found that just training the police is not enough anymore. We also have to show young people what to do when it comes to interacting with the police and first responders, because what the knowledge gaps that come into play with autism and the social communication difficulties with the diagnosis, when a police gives a command or expects someone to adhere to their instructions and it doesn't happen, or if the fight or flight response kicks in and you can't assault an officer or run from the police, those are crimes. When young people don't know what else to do, then situations go south. So really the missing piece of the puzzle, pardon the expression, that my mother and I are looking to fill is to show young people what needs to be done so that they can have more successful encounters with the police and first responders.
Okay, so you said if just training them is not enough, what are some of the additional concepts? Can you go into a little more detail about the concepts that can be taught to not only the police, first responders, and so forth, but to those living with autism in terms of how to be safe, how to interact, and basically what to do when they're in an encounter? And also, can you go a little bit into what some of the most effective methods you've encountered are to do this sort of training?
So some safety concepts that often get overlooked are just looking at the basics, following the law to be safe. I mean, I think a lot of people on the autism spectrum like to know the rules and will follow them to a T, maybe even tell other people they need to follow the rules too at some points. But really what it boils down to is when our young people know the rules and follow the law, that's going to increase the likelihood that they're going to remain safe and have no police or emergency encounters at all. But let's say the police do come into the mix. We are teaching young people to stay where they are, as opposed to don't run. You stay where you are when you meet the police. That's the rule that we set. We also tell young people to keep their hands to themselves, because there's that curiosity to want to reach out to touch a badge or pet the canine dogs, or in some cases maybe want to put the hand on a policeman's gun or equipment, and that's a big no-no.
Big no-no, yeah.
And the opposite is true too, because they might want to reach out, or they may want to reach into their own pocket And if an officer sees someone going for something in their pocket, they might think they're going for a gun on their person, like they're going to hurt that officer. So we teach young people on and off the spectrum, keep your hands where they can be seen and to yourself. So no touching other people or their equipment. You keep your hands to yourself. Also, following instructions. You just do what the police tell you, kind of like Nike. Just do it. When the police tell you to do something, you just do it. Even if it seems questionable, even if it's not what you were expecting, you just do what the police say, and you're going to have a better likelihood of getting through that interaction. Another concept, and this is a little bit more advanced, about telling the police about your diagnosis, because the police don't know what they don't know, but the more information they have, the better they can do their job. And they can't be expected to be experts on everything, like they're going to know exactly what to do when they hear a kid has autism. So we are encouraging people on the autism spectrum and their caregivers to disclose that diagnosis to an officer so that he or she can help the person the best they can. And also about rights, like the right to remain silent, the right to an attorney. Those are very, very abstract concepts and difficult to teach in some cases, but that doesn't mean we should just forget about it and risk them spewing something they shouldn't or not having the right representation. So we found, my mother and I, the best way to teach this material is through video modeling curriculum. And my mother is an educational therapist, and she filmed an entire movie called Be Safe, the movie, to show young people, again, on and off the spectrum, how to interact with the police. So we have 7 episodes, each covering a key concept, and it's an hour total. And the police see Be Safe, and they're like, we wish everybody knew what's in Be Safe. That would make our jobs a heck of a lot easier. So these safety concepts are being left to chance, but that doesn't mean they can't be taught, particularly to those that might not be verbal, because there's also a learning curriculum, a teaching edition, in addition to the Be Safe movie, that allows for all verbal and cognitive levels to be addressed and for the concepts to be taught. So again, Be Safe the movie, a video modeling curriculum to teach these concepts to help our young people be safe.
Well, kudos to you, seriously, for creating these tools and for getting the word out and for helping to teach our young people and others who are challenged or who may have certain inclinations that don't necessarily jive with an appropriate contact with law enforcement or even other first responders. Now, if someone wants to access these tools, where would they access them? And also, if someone, let's say they wanted to get some particular training, are there other tools? Are there places that they can go and perhaps get some of this training in person now that things are opening up a little bit? And address that for me, if you would.
Certainly. So I'll start with police training, because my mother and I do police trainings on autism. In fact, my mother has the only evidence-based police training on autism in America. It was studied by PhD candidates. They assessed the results, like what police were learning from the program, and it showed that they were having more effective interactions and better confidence in their encounters of people on the autism spectrum. So that training for police is called Experience Autism. So if you go to experienceautism.com, you can book my mother and me to come train your police departments about autism and how to identify people on the spectrum, better interact with them. If you're interested in ordering the movie, Be Safe, you can go to besafethemovie.com. We also offer self-disclosure cards that people can carry in their wallets to describe what they have, like autism, Down syndrome, learning disability, intellectual disability, and Alzheimer's. So you can have cards in your wallet, and as long as you get them out safely versus just reaching for them like you might have a weapon or something, that's going to help the police do better in interacting with you. So besafethemovie.com. to order the movie, the teaching edition, which has the learning curriculum in addition to the movie and self-disclosure cards. You can also have a bit of both, what my mother and I call an interactive screening. So through BeSafeTheMovie.com, you can book us to come to your community and have police there and also young people. So we'll have that introduction between the two parties, because we're finding that when the police and the autism community are strangers, when they don't know each other or aren't sure what to expect from one another, that's where things go south. So my mother and I help facilitate that introduction, and the police will do activities with the young people. And so now both parties realize, oh, wow, these are actual people and they're human. They have families that they want to go home to. And that's going to lead to more success and better outcomes in those interactions. So that's called a Be Safe interactive screening. And my mother and I also do what's called a Be Safe certificate course. So we use the teaching edition, the learning curriculum, with parents, teachers, therapists, school resource officers, and other individuals that might teach these safety concepts to people on the autism spectrum. So we're really looking to address and help all parties so that everyone gets home alive at the end of the day, because what's in this movie and in this learning curriculum could very well mean the difference between life and death.
Well, that sounds like an absolutely wonderful program, and you are absolutely right on that and right on. And so happy to hear that you are out there helping and educating and helping to make that connection between law enforcement, first responders, and those who need a little bit of help in terms of knowing how to make that connection and communication and interaction work to everyone's best advantage. Mm-hmm. Now, is there anything that we haven't covered or discussed that you would like to bring up? And also, what do you feel is the most important takeaway for people to remember from this conversation?
Well, I've been very fortunate to have never been arrested or imprisoned, and I'd certainly like to keep it that way if I had some wood knocking that right now. But I've had some close calls, and even though I can drive my own car, even though I have officers that I know, and there are so many things I can do, if I say or do something wrong around an officer, all of my progress, everything I've worked for can be undone in a snap. And I think too many families and communities think that interactions with a person with autism will just go okay, or that the officer will know what to do, or a caregiver will be there to explain what's going on. But that's all a huge risk. And people on the autism spectrum are actually about 7 times more likely to be involved in an emergency encounter, whether they've been victimized or they did something wrong, may not have known about it, or they might be a suspect or a witness to a crime. So we need to show young people what they need to do, and this is going to save lives. Be Safe the movie has saved lives, and I'm confident that it can save more. So please don't leave safety to chance. BeSafeTheMovie.com is the answer.
Well, thank you so much, Tom, for sharing all of that. And if people have questions, if they want to know more, what's the best way for them to reach out and contact you?
You can actually reach out to my mother, Emily. She's the creator of this material. It's like her baby, so to speak. So Emily at BeSafeTheMovie.com, all one word. Emily at BeSafeTheMovie.com. If you want to book a training, order materials, and that would be the best contact information for anything related to these safety events or items.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much, Tom, for your time and for sharing some very great and important information with us today.
You're very welcome.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find it on Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and other popular platforms. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can always access us and other great resources on our website, www.autismresourcepodcast.com. I want to thank our listeners for spending part of their day with us. This is the Autism Resource Podcast, and I'm Gilda Evans, reminding you to take care of yourself and that special person in your life.